Hey guys, Rob here with McDojoLife, and today we're going to check out some grappling advice. It's kind of hit or miss. Let's check it out, then let's break it down.
Could you defend against a knife from the ground?
Sure.
Could you defend against a club? An axe? A foot? No. Okay? In a regular situation, two guys are fighting on the ground. The girlfriend will finish you off. She's the most dangerous. You would never see a mercenary train like this, because while he's on the ground, I'll run by and slit his throat when I'm on the way to the next guy. We're talking about survival. Yeah, roll around like two crawlers, okay? Now, if you do happen to get on the ground, all right, let's go over a couple things. But don't go for it like it's the greatest thing since milk toast, okay? Let's get to, you're done. I'm with him in the ground, and the girlfriend pulls out a knife out of the pocketbook, I'm dead. If he's got a buddy, guess what? The buddy's gonna club me. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Now do we understand why we don't go to the ground?
Yes, sir.
Who wants to go to the ground? That's what I want to hear. But if you end up on the ground, there are ways to fight. Okay, he's got me in the guard, right? You use your feet. Remember I taught you to your feet? Okay, hold me in the guard as tight as you want, Bob. Who's going to walk in the guard? Get your feet up. He's got me in the guard. He's choking me. It hurts. Just bring your foot up and leave this down on his pancreas. Okay? Watch this. He's got me in the guard. Watch, it's going over real fast. Watch. Long. It's over. Watch. God, I won't do it. It's over. Now put your hands up, like your hands are trying to block, right? Okay, you can't block everything. Okay, he can hold his legs up and put your leg. It's not like it is in reality. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, and you stick your finger right up his nostril. Okay, you open his mouth like this and you tear his gums, right? And say, how do you like the guard now? Get me in the guard. And you rip him right apart. You won't like the guard, believe me. That hurts. See what I mean? Regular grappling doesn't expose as much. Okay, so now there's things he can do down there to get me off. You get on top, Bob, okay? Forget all the guard. I want to get out of here. I want to go home. Right? Put your weight on me, right? He's got his weight on me, and the weight takes a lot out of you. Just go like this. Up. Bam! Again. Up. Angle. Look. Now it's an ankle break. Tap, I make sure I don't break it. Okay? Get up again. I don't like, going to the ground or anything. Again, it's too much weight for me. Put this up, boot him off. Hold his leg here. He ain't getting away. Try to get away, Bob. Roll away.
No, sir.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, before we forget.
Now, the guy you just got done watching in this video goes by the name of Fred Villari, and he's run Villari Kempo for a very long time. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but this dude looks ridiculously like Ron Jeremy. I mean, am I wrong?
Who wanted the large sausage?
We did, but we don't have any money.
Now, when this video started, I said that it was fairly hit or miss. Now, I think that he starts off with some very valid points, and then it just tapers off into nonsense babble bullshit that he obviously has no clue what he's talking about. So let's go ahead and break it down.
Could you defend against a knife from the ground?
Sure.
Could you defend against a club? An axe? A foot?
Could you defend against the size of this dude's belt? Like, that thing's like 95 pounds. He has every stripe that he's ever given anyone and just gave to himself on this weighted blanket of a belt.
Two guys are fighting on the ground. The girlfriend will finish you off. She's the most dangerous.
That's got to be like a Ron Jeremy joke. That's a little something that always made me giggle whenever I heard him say it. The girlfriend will finish you off.
You would never see a mercenary train like this. Because while he's on the ground, I'll run by and slit his throat when I'm on the way to the next fight.
He says, you'd never see a mercenary train like this. Like, this dude has been around mercenaries his entire life. Then he said something that's quite obvious that he doesn't do a lot of. He said he'd run by. But you ain't running anywhere. Like, let's just be honest. You were not running at all, ever.
I'm with him in the ground, and the girlfriend pulls out a knife out of the pocketbook, I'm dead. If he's got a buddy, guess what? The buddy's gonna club me. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Now do we understand why we don't go to the ground? Yes, sir.
So now he does make a little bit of a valid point here, is that when you do get on the ground, you do have the issue of having to deal with multiple people. But let's be honest, if you were standing, you would still have to deal with those same multiple people. So yes, is it dangerous to be on the ground? Yeah, it would suck. But at the same time, like, if you're already there, which is kind of the point that he's getting at, which is why I said this isn't all terrible. He's just trying to give advice saying, don't go on the ground if you can help it. And I gotta tell you, it's not terrible advice, but then he starts this babble bullshit where that shows he clearly knows absolutely nothing about groundwork. So already you can tell he has no fucking idea what he's doing on the ground. He hops in the guy's guard. He takes this wide stance, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for base, but the gentleman that he's working with has his hands splayed out to the side like he's some type of a Jesus figure laying on the ground while working the guard. The guard is active. A good guard isn't stagnant. It doesn't just sit there. You don't just wrap your legs around the person and hope that that's the end-all be-all. And all the things that he's showing during this particular segment are quite ridiculous bullshit. Like, he's talking about the end-all be-all here of just using your guard to try to use your elbow to press into the person. Use your elbow to press into their sternum or their stomach. Put your hand on their throat and just choke them. Like, this is a great way to get armbarred. Like, just extending your arm and giving this to somebody who is aware of how a guard works and how arm bars work, you're losing. I'm sorry, that arm's gone. Also, he's talking about things like using eye gouges and using things like fish hooking to grab the mouth and grabbing and ripping the throat. Like, the person can do all of the same stuff to you. You're in the guard. Like, they can pull and push you with the legs. And pushing you away with legs gives a little bit more space, makes it much more difficult to reach up and apply pressure here. It makes it much more difficult than he's trying to make it sound like, oh, I'll just eye gouge you. Yeah, he can eye gouge you too. I'll just choke you. Yeah, he can choke you too. Like, all the same stuff that you're talking about, that person can do. And if they're aware of how a guard works and operates, they're going to do it back. That's like the most asinine thing. That's always like the go-to for people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, is like, oh, I just eye gouge you. Oh, I just poke you. I just grab your hair. I just bite you. Like, well, yeah, they can do that too. Like, that's not a secret mystical technique that only you and like 5 dudes in the world know because you know fucking ninjutsu or whatever it is you do. Like, that's ridiculous.
Get all the God. I want to get out of here. I want to go home. Right? Put your weight on me, right? He's got his weight on me, and the weight takes a lot out of you. Just go like this. Up. Bam!
So he talks about, right now, he's talking about the guard, I want to go home. But he's in a mounted position. The person's mounted him. So he's put himself in an even less advantageous position, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that when you're talking about it. But if you're going to talk about the guard and the mount are two different things, homie. I mean, a guard is kind of an upside down mount if you think about it, but still, it's not like being mounted. It makes no sense. And then he goes for this weird technique right here where he's talking about trying to get the guy off from a mounted position. So he's talking about just pushing the guy's arms up and punching him in the groin, hoping that that's going to make the guy just fall off of you. I'm sorry, homie, that shit ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen the way you think that it's gonna happen. Like, the person still has a post, the person's still gonna be hitting you, and now he's talking about like the guy's leg stuck, so you're gonna knee him in the groin from this bad position. And then he starts talking about like an ankle lock here. He's gonna break the person's ankle, but he has terrible leverage on the person's foot as well. So chances are good he's probably not gonna get anything but kicked in the face when attempting that. So Now he kind of gets a little bit more in depth. Okay, I'm blocking. And then he just bridges the person off. Again, he hasn't taken care of the post. He hasn't taken care of the issue, which is the person's going to be still fighting you, punching you back, right? And then now he's talking about the person's leg is trapped under you. Like, you bridged, you created space under your body so the person will fly off of you, but you didn't handle the post hand, so they'll still catch themselves. And then you think that magically their foot's just going to get stuck under you and they're not going to just pull it out. Like, you're in a fight, dude. None of what he said about grappling made absolutely any sense whatsoever. It's complete mindless dog shit. Now, in terms of Fred Villari and like Kempo and stuff like that, I'm not sitting here downing absolutely everything the man has ever done. I'm not downing everything he's ever said. But what I am going to say is that advice that he gave is fucking terrible. It's not good. Now, the beginning, he did have a strong point about trying not to get on the ground because you're going to have to worry about multiple opponents. Yeah, I do understand that, and that is a valid point, which is why I said it's hit or miss. But all the actual techniques that he discussed are horseshit. Just terrible. And I really hope that anybody who ever actually watches any of this grappling stuff goes back and tries to make up their own mind based off of their own education of going and looking at martial arts, especially grappling arts, and trying to figure out and dissect, why is it that we have a guard? Why is it that we have these positionings? Instead of this guy, like, who's basically just trying to sell his own Kempo like it's the best thing since milk toast, like he said. It's just not correct information, and that's the kind of stuff that's going to get people hurt. As always, I appreciate all your likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, and all that other crap people online tell you to do. Hopefully you guys enjoyed these videos. I just got over COVID. I had COVID for like 2 weeks. I'm clear now. I'm good to go. So I'm back to making videos. I'll be making another video on Wednesday. Hopefully you guys, have missed the show and we're back at it, and you guys continue to enjoy the content that we put out. If you like what we do here, check out our lives. If you ever have any questions, this is how I know if you actually watch these fucking videos. If you ever have any questions, you can catch me live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Instagram. You can ask me whatever. You can join the live. We'll have an open, honest conversation with each other. That way we don't have to sit here and keyboard warrior type to each other for an hour and a half. That's not my shit. I don't like doing it. You can just join me live and we'll have an open conversation. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, I go live. You can join me live, and then we'll have an open conversation. Keep the martial arts legit.